So today we're going to be talking about farming for real estate, and what we're going to cover for you guys is farming in a modern world. So the tools that we should be looking at. Now we're going to go deeper with direct mail samples, showing you not only what you should be delivering to the people, but also how you can tie it in with online with a micro website. And then we're also going to cover the importance of list building and how you can cultivate a list of people that you want to communicate to. That way you can dominate in that local area. We're also going to be covering on what ideas you should be sending. So a plan system on the first month, the second, the third, and so on. And then finally, Andrew's going to go over the costs, the time, and the return on investment so that you guys can have a better understanding on what to expect and how to play it going forward. So we'll start off with the numbers. Now, I asked Andrew to give me a brief summary on the idea behind farming, and this is what he had sent. So, Andrew, can you go over this because it was perfect how you emailed it. I just copy and pasted it. It fits so well.
Okay, no problem, Dan. We've done a lot of research on the subject of farming, and what we've found over the years is the sweet spot is 30 touch points per year in your farm area to be successful. And we've also found that a farm area of about 1,000 homes is preferential. So with 30 touch points to 1,000 homes, typically we're looking at turnover in a farm area of around 5%, which is about an average resale turnover, which will generate about 50 deals in your farm area per year. So that's the universe of deals that you're competing for. And in order to be successful, a program with 30 touch points is ideal. So those touch points could include things like a newsletter, a monthly newsletter that, along the lines of what our company puts out, but other kinds of newsletters as well. Just listed, just sold a flyer, or we call them cards in our business. And you can supplement that with other forms of touch points, such as door knocking. A lot of our clients are active door knockers. I really believe that door knocking is a hugely successful tactic. Others are telemarketers. And a lot of our clients will participate in key community events. A lot of them are members of neighborhood residents associations. A lot of them are, in case of condos, are on the condo board, et cetera, et cetera. So there's lots of ways you can achieve contact points. The crucial thing is at the beginning of the year when you're strategizing, put together a plan that will give you approximately 30 touch points per year in your farm area, and make sure that when you select your farm area, I know we're going to talk more about selecting farm area in a few minutes, to make sure you're covering an area that's going to generate about 50 deals per year. Those are the sweet points.
And producing 50 deals per year, yeah, collectively, not 50 deals going to you as an agent.
Correct. Obviously, what I meant was the universe of deals should be at least 50 deals, and you're competing for your share of those 50 deals.
Cool.
Correct.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, I just want to make sure on that. And so when we talk about picking an area, I mean, one strategy is what you can look at an area that has 1,000 homes with a 5% turnover, or you can look at an area with 500 homes and a 10% turnover, and essentially you'd be having the same percentage of listings coming through at a different cost. So 10% is really high and not normal. 5% and above is kind of the sweet spot and what you guys would be aiming for. But that's why it's important to do the research, because wouldn't it make more sense to compete for 50 listings at basically half the price? Or the higher the percentage of turnover, the higher the chances that you'll have something that you can get as an agent, right?
Right. You can find there's some farm areas that do turn at 10%. What you'll find is lower priced homes. Townhome complexes are great farm area opportunities. Condo buildings are as well. I mean, there's a lot of examples of 2 condo towers in the same complex, each about 250 units in size. That's 500 units. Condos will turn pretty close to 10% per year, depending on the age of the condo, etc. But typically, if you're looking at a neighborhood, and typically you'll be looking at roughly a 5% turnover is sort of average, at least in the GTA and elsewhere as well. So that's going to be about 1,000 homes to be looking at.
So what we're saying is the agents really should kind of grab a cup of coffee, take some time, and do the research to find the area that they want to target. Now, you had mentioned to me there's 3 main points. On my screen here, I put kind of my thought, but when we were talking on the phone earlier, there was 3 real clear things that you have to know and understand.
Yeah, when you pick a farm area, it's not, first of all, it's not rocket science at all, but there are three main things you should be looking at in terms of selecting a farm area. The first one we've already touched on, and that's you want to ensure there's an adequate number of deals you're competing for. So that's the turnover point. So you're looking at about 50 deals a year is sort of a standard. And then beyond that, you're looking at two other factors that are important. One is what I call competitive dynamics. You're trying to avoid areas where there's a strong concentration of deals uh, on behalf of one or two very strongly entrenched realtors. So I'll give you a good example of that. If you're looking at maybe a condo complex, and there could be 50 deals a year in the complex. However, there's an agent who could be the president of the condo board, or at least on the condo board, and that strongly entrenched agent might have 75% of the deals, what have you. So you're trying to avoid that kind of situation. What you're trying to do is find a highly fragmented situation. It's far easier to break into a farm area where the deals are being spread out. I use the word fragmentation. So that's the kind of situation that you're looking for. As a rule of thumb, we tell our clients, please, try to avoid all areas where the top three realtors are generating more than 50% of the deals in the area. So that's an important factor as well. Third criteria is, or criterion is the kind of people who live in the area. Birds of a feather do flock together. Most people live in clusters. You should be farming an area that you feel very comfortable with the kind of people that live in the area from a demographic standpoint. It could be an age issue, it could be ethnicity, it could be a number of things. But the bottom line is, when you're sitting in that house doing a listing presentation, and you should, you're sitting in the living room or kitchen or wherever you are, you should feel very, very comfortable with the kind of people that live in the area. Most, as I said, birds of a feather do flock together. Most areas are pretty homogenous in terms of the kinds of people who live there, and you want to avoid the type of situation. For example, I was mentioning to Dan earlier, if you're a 60-year-old guy and you like wearing a suit every day, you shouldn't be farming a young, funky area in Liberty Village or King West Village or what have you. That's just not going to be a good mix. Conversely, if you're relatively a newly licensed agent within, let's say, the first 5 years of your career, you should try to avoid, the Forest Hills or the Rosedales of the world, or where the price point is pretty high. Because again, there's going to be a credibility issue there, and you just won't feel comfortable. So those are the three criteria: turnover, agent concentration, and demographics.
Oh, that's perfect. And I want to give the agents some ideas on the different areas that you can actually do geographic farming. I mean, a lot of agents right off the top just think of traditional residential resale, but I mean, what if you took a look at brand new developments that were brand new 4 years ago? Uh, all those people have mortgages that are coming up on the fifth year. That's kind of the average, right? So when they buy a brand new home through the builder, they don't have a realtor. I mean, they probably use the realtor on site, but they were kind of forced to use that person, and there's a good chance that they don't have the loyalty, or and possibly that agent didn't follow up and keep in touch with them. So picking a farm area, maybe look at any new developments that are kind of recent, maybe 4 years ago, and see if what the market looks like there. Condo buildings, like that's a huge, obviously a lot of people think of residential freehold, but condos is a pretty easy one because it's something you can target specifically with a specific message, and all the communications like the branding and everything can kind of be synergistic in relation to them. And then you talked about the demographics of making sure that you mesh well. Well, maybe you could do a geographic farm in an area that you know is completely full and dense with people that kind of speak the same language or act the same way, kind of birds of a feather type of thing. So you can pick areas in your city that you know you really, really connect with. Now, farming for farms, picking a niche area. So you can do geographic farming on a certain pocket of the city, but then you can also do a certain type of message. So you could do a geographic farm, for example, for gas stations or for actual horse farms and farms. Like you can be farming the farms, just get a list of where all the mailing addresses are, and put that together and start creating a conversation on what the properties are selling for, and then also new ones that exist if maybe they want to buy another one. And then farming really is for getting listings. That's the main reason why people focus and put the efforts into farming. And this idea is not so much generated for getting a listing, but it's still a pretty unique one nonetheless. And that would be targeting rental buildings. So apartment buildings that maybe the average rent in that building is a little higher. Say it's in our area, high price point could be like 1,500. Well, you could do a geographic farm to that building, showing them all the listings that they can own for 1,200 a month, right? So farming really is a listing tool, but you could also take a look at other ways to pick up buyers, and that's just a couple examples. Now, you explained this part really well when we were talking about the 5% or higher, and can you go over this part?
Well, I guess we've touched on these points already. The first one is a turnover-related point. We've covered that off. We covered off the agent concentration, so that's an important point. Up or down trend. One of the things that we've noticed over the years, and I'm sure probably most of you already realize, is that newer construction does tend to turn more aggressively than older construction. New subdivisions or new condo buildings or new townhome complexes. In the first 5 years of their existence, there's going to be a lot of turnover. A lot of people buy housing from plans, and there's could be a two or 3 year wait before they occupy them. In those 2 or 3 years, their financial situation could have changed dramatically. It could have, in either direction, for the better or for the worse. If it improved dramatically, they're able to afford something a higher ticket price, so they'll be selling for that reason. Conversely, if someone lost a job in the family or what have you, they may have to sell something that wasn't anticipated a few years ago. Probably the more common reason, though, for selling newly purchased property is people want to bank the profit. They want to turn it over and flip the deal, and then obviously, a lot of people, when they do buy from plans, they have a certain vision of what the property is going to look like or be like. They move in, it's not what they anticipated it would be. They're not all that happy with it, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all kinds of reasons why turnover is very, very high in the first couple of years of new construction. It doesn't mean that you should avoid farming more established areas, but if you're looking for low-hanging fruit, which a lot of people are, new construction is ideal to be looking for. So that's going to create a trend. Up or down trend. Obviously, once the construction gets beyond 5 years and gets into 6, 7, 8, 9 years, it's going to settle down to what I call a steady state turnover, and that's the time you should be looking at it to make sure that it meets the 5% criteria at that point in time. The renter versus owner point is important, particularly for condo buildings. There's a lot of condo buildings that you need to avoid farming because they have a very high concentration of renters, or a very high concentration of tenants. So you want to seek to farm areas where there's a high concentration of owner-occupied units. Having said that, we do have a few very smart clients who have gone to the time and trouble of going to the land registry and developing a database of owners, of non-resident owners, names and addresses of non-resident owners, and they've asked us to do an overrun of the mailing to the non-resident owners. That's an excellent strategy. It just takes a little bit of extra sort of elbow grease, so to speak, to garner those names and addresses. I've got one example uppermost in my mind. We have a client who's been a client of ours for over 10 years. She farms a building of 500 units down in the Etobicoke waterfront, and every year she sends us a list of approximately 200 names of non-resident owners. She updates it, I think, twice a year, actually. And we do an over-mailing to those non-resident owners. And it's really a captive market. When you think about it, no one else is soliciting those people.
And they have two properties. If you think about it, everybody in that database has two properties, one they live in and the one that they're renting.
Right. So those are some of the points there. The other point is Dan just mentioned a while ago about farming rental buildings. That's not something we specialize in terms of having a product for, but if anyone wants to embark on that strategy, one cautionary note I would say is, yeah, that's a potentially good strategy, but some rental buildings are characterized, look at the demographics, some rental buildings are characterized by a younger demographic, so yeah, it's logical that those people would trade up into owning houses. but a lot of rental buildings are characterized by older people, and
Yeah.
they're empty nesters basically. So you clearly want to avoid farming those kinds of rental buildings.
And then I'll just touch on the culture and languages you don't speak. It's really important when you do pick an area to actually go in that area and door knock and just get a feel for if you mesh with the people at all, right? Because you don't want to be getting listing appointments and then meeting them at the table and realizing you just totally don't connect in any regard, right?
Right. Yeah, that's more of a that's more of like you want to avoid certain bad situations. It doesn't have to be an ideal situation.
Right, yeah, true.
Obviously, a lot of salespeople are chameleons. That's the reason you're in sales to begin with, potentially. But you just want to avoid a negative situation. You don't want to be pushing water uphill, so to speak.
Now, here's an idea for when you guys have the run over, like the leftover direct mail pieces. So every month you're going to get these distributed. Well, maybe you could take some extras and then go through the area and drop them off yourself at the daycares and the local retirement homes, in the waiting rooms, like the auto mechanics and that sort of thing, and in the restaurants. So anywhere in your farm area, pick off anywhere there's a waiting room in that area and just build a relationship with that owner and see if it's okay that every month you drop them off, because people are in the waiting room, they're in that area for a reason. Like they go to the closest mechanic, right?
Yeah, just to build on that point, I know we have a couple of clients that have made deals with the local bank branch in the area. Usually it emanates from where they have a contact with their mortgage broker of choice, and they've created a deal whereby the bank lets them put in their marketing pieces in a sort of area where there's pamphlets and so forth and so on. Those are the kinds of things that Dan is alluding to, and I know we have a lot of clients who do request extras, several hundred extras in some cases, so you can facilitate that kind of strategy.
Maybe if there's a divorce lawyer in the area, you,
Yeah,
you could have
exactly.
some dropped off there. Now,
Right.
when I did this with the daycare, so what happened was I got 3 referrals from this lady, and I actually didn't know who she was. So I tracked her down, went to her house, and when I went to her house, I knocked on the door, she opened it up, and we started talking. And during that time, 3 other women came and picked up their kids, and she was running a daycare out of her home. And she just happened to be getting my newsletter, and she, for some reason, even though we never talked before, kept telling people to use us. So I went out of my way to go track her down, and that's when I came up with the theory. I'm like, man, you should just hit all the daycares in your farm area and start dropping them off with those people, because they're all with new mothers who may need a larger home soon, right?
I agree with that. The only thing I would say, again, as a cautionary note, that these kinds of things that you can do, and they're all great ideas. It doesn't take the place of your main strategy. Your main strategy will be to create a plan that gives you 30 reliable contact points per year per person per resident.
Right.
These
Oh
kinds
yeah.
of ideas are over and above building on top of that. They're all great ideas, but please don't just do only that.
No.
Just your main goal when you create your business plan every year is to create those 30 touch points.
Yeah, you need the 30 touch, and this is just kind of like the icing on the cake
Correct.
bonuses.
Correct.
So here's an example of a direct mail piece. If you can run us through kind of the highlights of what you guys include in your sample, but then also what they should include regardless of what they're up to.
Okay, this particular sample we're looking at right now, it's from our Realty Sweep collection, our farming newsletter program. We have different formats. The one we're looking at here is what we call our contemporary format. So the banner is really important. The banner is the upper portion of the newsletter. In this case, it says the Junction Report. Now, this is actually this is a sample program. The guy's name is John Sample. Some of our clients are really want to put their own name in the main banner. So in this case, it could be the John Sample Report. We strongly advise against that. We try to instill the notion in our clients' heads that the piece that you're creating is about the recipient. It's not about the sender. The results do vary significantly on that basis. We're creating a marketing piece here. We're trying to connect with people in the farm area. We're trying to give them value-added, relevant information, and we're trying to make it relevant to where they live. So we highly recommend using the name of the neighborhood in the report name. We also recommend repeating the name of the neighborhood several times throughout the newsletter. So you'll notice, in addition to the junction report, just to the right hand side of that, there's a little map with the junction, the boundaries, in this case always north, south, east, west boundaries, and we do a two-scale or pretty close two-scale map so people can identify with their neighborhood. And then immediately below, in the secondary banner, we will put that's the good place to put your name, so John Sample's Real Estate Newsletter, and then the issue date would be next to that. So that's the banner. Then in the Market Watch box section, we find that the thing that people crave the most in terms of information are home values. What are their values of the housing in the area? What do they look like in terms of different types of housing types? Within that, different numbers of bedrooms. Obviously, that would dictate a different price level. So what we do, where it says the Junction Market Watch, if you look beneath, it's broken down by detached homes, bungalows, semi-detached townhomes, etc. And there's categories by bedrooms, and we show the number of transactions over the audit period, usually latest 6 months, number of transactions, average price, high price, and days on market. So right away you're capturing people's interest immediately. They'll focus on, for example, if they have a 3-bedroom detached home, they'll look at that category and try to get a sense for what the range of values are. Now we're going to touch upon this later when we talk about microsites. Right in the top part of that box, there's a little statement that says for more details, junction statistics, and there's a website. In this case, it's the Junction souls.info. We create .info sites for our clients, and you would go to that microsite to get additional statistical information beyond what we can fit onto the newsletter. And there's more goodies on that microsite, and we'll cover that off when we get to that in a few minutes. To the right of that, there's an article in terms of the overall trading area. In this case, this is the West Toronto neighborhood, so the overall market article would be a GTA article with a graph there as well in terms of charting, in this case, average resale price. And then at the bottom of page 1, there's a call to action box on the bottom right-hand corner. That's where you would insert your slogan and your contact information, usually a phone number and an email address oftentimes. And the slogan really should emphasize, once again, the name of the neighborhood. If you happen to live in the area that you're farming, and a lot of our clients do, although that's not a prerequisite by any means, you should reinforce the fact you live in the area. So a slogan of living and working in the Junction, that's a great slogan to use if you live in the area. If you don't live in the area, you might just use a slogan like your Junction Realtor, or so something to reinforce that you're focusing on the Junction. Now, where it says message from John Sample, that's the first area on our newsletter where our clients can contribute their own content. We have a tool on our website actually that gives them ideas of what you can write for your message. The idea is to write something that's locally relevant and value added, and if possible real estate pertinent, although it doesn't have to be real estate pertinent. What you're trying to do is connect with people and give them a sense that you know what's going on in the neighborhood. So it could be something as mundane as there's a new restaurant opening in the area and you want to comment on that. People like to deal with the local people. People want to deal with someone that they have a strong sense knows the area, has an intimate sense of the area, and also with someone that they really believes in the value of real estate in the area. So that's your little your section you use every month to prove to them that you know what's going on in the area. As I said, we do have a resource tool on our website that gives you really hundreds of ideas what you can do in that little message box. And we also have a default message every month. Let's say you're on holiday or you're very, very busy with clients, etc. You don't have time before the deadline date to create a message. There's a generic message that we create every month. We change it every month that would simply plop in that section. It won't be locally relevant. However, it will be very pertinent to real estate, and it will be very timely, and it'll make you look like a professional realtor, even though it's not locally relevant. We do encourage our clients, however, to create something locally relevant. So now, Dan, if you want to hit the next button, we'll go to page 2.
Yeah, I will. I just wanted to point out one thing in case people missed it, is all these stats and everything are done automatically right from your process of how you guys do this newsletter for the people. As it connects with their the area that you're doing the direct mail to, you can pull up and it connects with the computer on all the sales and everything. So all this is done automatically, so the people don't have to do that.
Right, we don't ask our clients to do anything in terms of statistics. We create all the statistical information for them. It's done, none of our clients have to lift a finger to achieve any of this. And when we get into the microsite, and you'll see additional information, that's all created for them as well.
Cool, yeah.
Okay, page 2. Top of page 2 is the second area where we encourage our clients to get involved with, and that is submitting properties, featured properties. You're allowed to, in our basic template, you're allowed to submit three 3 properties. It could be new listings, or it could be listings about to come out. It could be recent solds, etc. It's really important to take advantage of this feature. One of the questions I often get asked is, particularly someone who's just starting to farm an area from scratch, what if I don't have any listings? Well, that's often the case, that you won't have any listings or recent solds when you're starting to farm an area. And in that situation, we encourage our clients to seek approvals to run other people's properties. We have a lot of clients who diligently go through the process every month, and they always come up with 3 properties to show. And it creates the impression that, obviously you're not disclosing that they're not your listings. You don't have to, but you do need, obviously you do need approval from the listing agent to run the properties. But it's very important to take advantage of it's, in my mind, to put out a real estate newsletter out without properties is just, you just shouldn't go down that road at all. You should always endeavor to put in 3 properties. The vast majority of our clients understand that, and they take advantage of that feature every month. Immediately below that is an article. Again, to be a newsletter per se, as opposed to a piece of advertising, it's important to have content. We create the content for our clients every month. So that article that you see there would be created for you. If in the event you don't have any properties, which in some cases you won't, we create a larger article which would take the entire back page in that situation. Bottom left-hand corner, there's a little, the only piece that we create that's not real estate related is a little piece of humor called priceless quotes that we create every month. It's something we've tested over the years. We've had enormously strong feedback from our clients that their prospects and their farmers love looking at the priceless quotes, and it's something that the vast majority of our clients really do love. Bottom right-hand corner is a second call to action box. You're reprising your slogan again, you're putting the farm area name in again, and you've got all your contact information. You'd have your website, your email address, your direct number, your office number, etc., etc.
So
that gives you
one thing is really important, to always have call to action so that you can drive people from that piece of paper back to you, right?
Correct. In this case, what we're doing in terms of call to action, there's an immediate call to action with a phone number or an email address, and there's the other call to action that you saw on page 1, which drives people to the microsite, which we've created to create an interim landing point between between our newsletter and the ultimate goal, which is getting them to your own website. And I guess at some point, not too far from now, Dan, we'll get to the microsites.
Yeah.
Here's another example of another format. This is our booklet format. It's a 4-page format, very similar to what I've just showed you, except it's in 4 pages. Page 1 is, again, territory statistics. In this case, it's an area called Kirkendall, which is a neighborhood in Hamilton. And with the booklet format, we have a little bit more space devoted to the farm area stats. So we, in addition to average price and high price, we're able to include a low price indicator as well.
I kind of highlighted a few things that visually, again, you have the area that it's being direct mailed to. So people should always include that. Obviously, the stats and content. She has a really nice call to action. This is for a free book on selling a home. And then she's branding herself as well within that community. So I really like that piece.
Right, and on the back page, that's page 4 actually, in this particular format, you have a message. And you notice here, in this case, the client does not live in the area. You notice her slogan is your Kirkendall real estate professional. That's a good way to reinforce the name of the neighborhood in the slogan. And that's what she uses in this case. If you go, I think, a bit lower, Dan, you'll see pages 2 and 3. Page 2 is the market report that we showed you earlier in the other format. In this case, this particular format has 2 charts as opposed to 1. And there's 3 listings that the client has created for that particular issue as well. Once again, very important.
And when the people are watching this and rewatching this video later, I purposely blurred it because it's not about the written. It's just about the idea of what should you have and what should you include.
Right. This is another example of our contemporary format, and I think it's an area in Burlington, I believe. I think on page 2 there's a point that you want to make, Dan, about, there it is there. A lot of our clients do take advantage of, for example, here where you're showing your listings, you might want to put in a piece of communication from your mortgage broker. It's another thing you can do in that area. A lot of our clients, it's not shown in this particular example, but if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner where we have priceless quotes, a lot of our clients use that space to create a permanent ad from their mortgage broker. so the mortgage broker has some exposure in the farm area as well, and they create a deal with the mortgage broker to fund part of their newsletter to defray the cost of their investment. We have quite a few clients who actually do that as well.
Yeah, I really like that. So I want to touch on how do you get the people from that piece of paper? So from doorstep they get this. How do you get them to the computer? So you always want to drive them to, if you have your website, it's always got a house values page, it's got a search listings page, a micro website, if you can leverage that. You guys use micro websites, and that's what I'm about to show now.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows all the stats for that pocket, for that neighborhood specifically. So if you can have the power of a micro website that talks only about that community, obviously that would be the ultimate. Many agents don't have that benefit, so if you guys are listening and you don't have anything like that, you've definitely got a website with a house value page and a search listing page. So if I had my own website and say I named it danwood.ca, I wouldn't drive people to my website. I would drive them to the landing page on that website. So say I was targeting South Oshawa, which nobody would ever do. But if I was, I would drive people to danwood.ca/South Oshawa because I know in that direct mail piece that's where those people are and that's the message they want to hear about. Now it would be better if you had a micro website and you just named it southoshawa.com or .info and you drove the people to the right communication. But it's really important when you're sending them pieces of paper that you get them as quickly as possible to the information that you know is relevant to them. So here's your micro website, by the way.
Yeah, so as I guess I alluded to earlier, all of our farming newsletters come with an associated micro website. It's there's no additional cost or anything like that. It's just part of the package that we offer. So in this particular case, what you see is an example. It's a fictitious area called Sample Town. Again, John Sample. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see bar charts. So what we do is on the newsletter itself, if you recall, we showed for each statistical category, we showed number of transactions, average price, high price, and days on market. The numbers you see in orange are actually printed on the paper version of the newsletter, but the prospect would have to go to the microsite to see last year's data for the same data period. So a person would go, I'm just showing one category here in this particular slide, but they'd see that last year there were, in this case, 2 transactions, this year just 1 transaction. And the average price last year is, I think I'm reading that right, 446 versus 380.
Yeah.
High price is shown, and average days on market is shown. So obviously that's there's not a lot of transactions for that particular category. But what we're trying to get people to do is go from the piece of paper to the microsite. We hold back some of the data. They need to go to the microsite to see a trended situation. How does the situation compare to last year, etc. And while they're on the microsite, we try to capture some information. So I know Dan has doctored this a little bit with his own video, etc. But what we have here is we have a video opportunity on all our microsites. If our clients do nothing, we automatically load a video from the real estate board. In the case of the GTA, it's the Market Watch video that comes out every month. It gets automatically loaded there, so there's video. And then on the right-hand side where you see the name, first name, last name, what we do is we create a customized contact capture form that you can customize, or our clients can customize with any offer they wish to create. The most common offer is simply a property match. Put me on a name so I can get property match. Put me on a distribution list so I can get all property matches in the farm area come out automatically. In order to do that, they have to put in their first and last name and email address. So you've created a contact capture. It's very important to make contacts as you go along in your farm area. Even though people only sell their homes once every 5 years on average, you don't want to wait to the to the year that they want to sell before you establish a relationship with them. You want to establish a relationship with them long before that. Reason being, when they do finally decide to list their property, they already feel they have a relationship with you, and you'll be uppermost in their minds when they decide to call in a listing agent. So it's important to generate contacts. Now the video is also important. A lot of our clients are creating their own videos now. If you don't want to use the default option that I just mentioned earlier, you can create your own video. We've actually set up a video division recently in our company, helping our clients create videos. It's a great strategy to use. Create a simple 2-minute video. You can do a different one every month if you like. and again, freshen up your contact capture with different kinds of promotions. We have a client I was telling Dan about a while ago. He has access to Maple Leaf tickets at the Air Canada Centre. So he runs a promotion every month where he gets a draw. People put in their names and email addresses, etc., for an opportunity to win 2 tickets to the Maple Leaf versus San Jose Sharks game, whatever the game is at the end of the month. And then what he actually does, which is cool, is when he delivers the prize to the winning person, he takes a video of that, video of the awarding of the prize, and that's the video that gets in the video box. So next month when the new promotion comes out, people can see, oh, there's a chance to enter again, and by the way, hey, here's last month's winner. So it's tangible proof that the prize is being awarded, so to speak. A lot of our other clients would do something similar. Well, one of the common things that people do is tickets to the home show. A lot of people will get free tickets, or maybe they'll purchase tickets on bulk to the home show, and they'll run a little promotion that says, first 20 people who fill out this form will get tickets to the home show this next month or whatever it is. It's a great way of using this feature. A lot of our other clients also, instead of creating their own video or using the default option on the video, would simply put in a virtual tour in the farm area. If they have a listing that they're particularly proud of in the farm area, they'll put the virtual tour in there, and then instead of doing a contact capture, they'll take that out and they'll put a little message that would describe the property, etc. So there's all kinds of ways you can customize these sites to make, what your goal is to reach out to people. You want to meet and establish contacts with as many people as you can in the farm area. One thing that's not 100% obvious here is, if you can you go back, please? Yeah. Where you see that banner with the picture of John Sample, that banner, that's a link. So anytime you click on any part of that banner, you will go directly to John Sample's website, which would be obviously your website. So there's obviously a link to your main website. We're not trying to replace, with our microsites, we're not trying to replace our client's main website. Nothing could be further from the truth. What we're trying to do is create an interim site. People go from the newsletter to this microsite, and then one click away from your main website.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to give the guys guys and gals a couple examples on maybe what the promotion form could be, or what the video, or hand in hand, what they both could be. So he touched. I love the handing out the hockey tickets. That's awesome. The open houses and listings is also another one. You can have a video, or even no video, but just a form talking about if you want homes that match your criteria to fill in the form. So obviously that's one most realtors leverage. But then also on that website they can see stats, but you could have a call to action that says if you want to see specifically how much your home could sell in today's market with recent comparables, fill in the form. And then the people will reach out to you. Testimonials. So that agent where he had the video of him giving the hockey tickets to the people, having that video put on there is really big. I mean, that would be so cool for him, by the way, just to take that micro website and then share it on Facebook after the guy wins and says, hey, congratulations, Joey. Here's a video of you winning your hockey tickets. Hope you enjoyed the game. And then he's going to be sharing that with all his friends and family. So getting people to kind of have a reason to share your microsite is pretty big. And then also events. So if you're doing a farming area, you're really focused on that geographic location. A lot of realtors do client appreciation events and neighborhood events, like a movie day at the park. So we have a realtor here locally that rents one of them big blow-up screens and a movie projector, and she'll have between 500 to 1,000 people come. And there's no cost. She gets other people to donate and sponsor, and she has zero cost. And she has this huge movie day once a year, and she's been doing it for a couple of years. But anyways, on your micro website, you could have like for people to register so that they can come and register that they're going, right? So you would have a video about it, or even no video, but just content about it, and register here if you're going to attend, whatever the event may be. You could even do, say some agents are doing home buyer seminars or investing in real estate seminars. You could, if we did the micro website for the renters, so if you were targeting the rental buildings, for example, you could target them with how to do a rent to own, and then here's a webinar that they register for access to that, showing them how they can buy a home for basically what they're paying in rent right now. So tying in those forms is really, really important to get the contact information. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Those are just a couple examples, but I'm sure you guys have a lot more to talk about and ones that you can use. So it all goes hand in hand. What you need is a system. You need a system to communicate with these people and build a list. You have to have not only a list of all the names and numbers in one database, but you have to have it segmented. I mean, list building is such a huge topic nowadays. It always has been, but now it's becoming more and more prevalent that you need to have, not only do you have to have a list, but you have to have a way of breaking that list down. So you can just log onto your computer and you know you got 307 people in your friends, family, and past clients list. But then you also want to start building up a list of all the people in your farm area. And I don't mean postal code or zip code, but I mean name, phone number, and email. So have a list just right in your computer of who are all the people with their name, email, and phone number that are part of that farm. And then all your internet leads. You got to have a list of who are not internet leads, but just leads in general, buyers and sellers, because you want to break it down. So if you have a client appreciation event, you can email everybody from your sphere, your farm, and your leads. However, if you've got a seminar on investing in real estate, maybe you'll hit the leads, for example. You'll have a list of leads who are investors. So you have to have a way of creating a list of who people are. A free tool that the realtors should be looking at is MailChimp, because you can use MailChimp to create different lists. So your buyers, your sellers, your friends and family, your sphere, and it'll have basically all their emails, so you can do an email blast communicating to those people specifically. Another example is BombBomb. So I really like BombBomb because it allows you to create a video and then email a video to everybody, and it's super easy to use. But either way, whatever database you use, it should have an ability to create its own form. So when you create, say you got a MailChimp account and you created a form for home sellers, and you would capture their first name, last name, email, their phone number, and their address. Well, that will start building a list of all the home sellers. And you create a form for basically each list. That way, when people register for it, it self-populates those people. So here is an example. I go to BombBomb and I click on forms and I create a form that says first name, last name, email, and phone number. Then I would put that form everywhere on my website that was about, so if this was a form for house sellers, then I would be talking about local house values. And I know anybody who registers on this form is looking for local house values. And because they registered on that, now I know how to communicate to those people. So I can bring them out to my client appreciation or my seminars or give them the house stats. So you have to have a way of building a list of people, and most agents don't have a database. So if you don't have one, get something simple. MailChimp is free. I would say start there, but you have to have a database of people. So let's talk about the plan. You go on to the 30 touch plan. So let's go into that. I'll give a couple examples, by the way, Andrew. So here's a sample plan, which is the 12 farming newsletters, which is once a month, where they deliver the samples that we just talked about. And then bi-weekly, so that's 12 touches. So how do we get some more touches? Another way would be postcards. So every half month, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. So you could alternate it that way. You can even have special messages. So at the end of the year, you could have a call to action on year-end house value reports, or you could have a call to action on your buyer match system on how you can match buyers up with homes that fit their criteria in ways that they can't do online. You can have a special promotion on an investment property hot list. Are you thinking of investing in real estate? Sign up for our hot list of deals updated weekly. And then when those people register for this list of hot deals, you have them in your database, and just every week you can blast them all the lower priced homes and see if any of them are a fit. Some agents have the ability where they can do an area watch, and that would be if in your geographic farm area, you could say watch the market, get updates on all new listings and all solds, and you can do that automatically. So some realtors can do that, some can't. It depends on your local MLS, but anyways, that could be something that you could promote. events and seminars, obviously the buying, investing, and financing. But then also maybe one of the postcards that you send out could be on all your social media and testimonials, just reminding the people of have big print of people that are in their area that just bought or sold, super excited talking about it, and then you can mail the whole area. So that's 24 touches so far. You say 30 is the ideal, so we need 6 more. So the movie day example that I talked about, that's an awesome one because that's more than one. I mean, you would have to go door knocking to let the people know. You'd have to email blast to let the people know. Once they were actually at the event and with you, that's another touch. You're there face to face, and then you can follow up afterward. Giveaways such as pumpkins. This was an awesome idea that you gave me, Andrew, and I love it. So going door knocking around Halloween, not giving away pumpkins, but giving away a coupon for a free pumpkin. And the trick is when they go pick up their free pumpkin, the pumpkin farmer that you make a deal with, they have to get the person's name, phone number, email, and mailing address. That's kind of like the rule. You want a free pumpkin, then you have to register, basically. So it kind of removes that whole headache of pre-buying a whole bunch of pumpkins and then having a bunch of leftovers. And you don't have to lug them around. You can actually just go face to face, let the whole neighborhood know, say, hey, we got free pumpkin giveaway, and by the way, here's instructions on the Halloween contest. So what we're doing is if you take a picture of the best pumpkin carving, you can upload it to the Facebook, and the winner is going to get picked at the end of the month, and this is what they win. So it's a real touch that you can walk through the whole neighborhood and without lugging around big heavy pumpkins and going through that expense of buying pumpkins that aren't going to get used. This was a huge one that I really, really liked, buying your home letter. And the reason I really, really liked it is because when I bought a property, I couldn't find what I was looking for online. And I was getting kind of frustrated. So what I did was I did a search for all the homes that fit my criteria that were listed at one point but never sold. And I went door knocking with a letter, and I had a picture of myself and my dog and my wife and a story of why we wanted that particular home. And I did that letter 30 times for all of the 30 different properties that I thought might be a fit. And man, did we ever get such a huge response of people inviting us in the house. We bought one of the properties privately, and it worked so well that then we started doing it with our buyers that we were working with. So we would write a letter and go door knocking in the area with a picture of them and a picture of the area we're door knocking and a story of why they want that area. And when you go door knocking with a true reason and you're trying to solicit them, but at the same time you're actually really working for the buyer and trying to get them a property, it comes across as way more authentic, and the conversations are a lot more positive, and it's just a better all-around experience. And then obviously door knocking around open houses. So whenever you do an open house, that's another way you can add a touch to the neighborhood by always having your signs in the area and then you door knocking that area. And then 6 personal touches, like calling the people, just being seen, like being a part of the condo board or the local homeowner association, just really being connected. All of those add up to 30, right?
Hmm.
So those are just kind of fire hosing ideas on how you could touch the people 30 times throughout the course of a year. And Andrew, can you go over this return on investment and cost analysis sheet?
Yeah, at the end of the day, once your strategy is in place, and by the way, that plan that Dan just showed, those 30 touch points, that's what we recommend to our clients. 12 newsletter touch points, 1 per month. Every other week, a card or a flyer mailing, which would be a less involved piece, but still a piece that's going to generate awareness in the marketplace. So every 2 weeks, there's a piece of mail going out in the area, which is going to give you your main sort of buzz in the marketplace, and then you supplement that with 6 other touch points. If you use door knocking, and a lot of our clients are avid door knockers, and I really believe in the power of door knocking, but by the way, that means that you would door knock your entire farm once every 2 months to generate an additional 6 contacts per year. Some of our clients will phone as well, particularly in areas where you can't door knock. But there you have it. There's 30 contact points. And then you would supplement that with things that you can't get 100% everyone in the, for example, if you're on a neighborhood residents association, you go to a monthly meeting. Obviously, not all 1,000 residents will be part of that neighborhood association, but you're going to see, a chunk of them, and that would be all ways of supplementing. Okay, going to payback. At the end of the day, it's got to make sense financially. Farming is a great business building strategy. It's a great way to get business. It's a great way to get listings. It's the best way to get listings,
Mm-hmm.
and listings are the best way for you to to have a sustainable business strategy. At the end of the day, it's got to make financial sense. So we offer a payback analysis to all our clients. This is a particular. This is just a snapshot of one of them we did a while ago, I guess. Um, the cost, we'll show the cost. Obviously, the cost is cost. We've stripped out HST because that's a input tax credit, but the rest of it is obviously a cost to you or to our clients. And then we'll look at the estimated territory turnover, which in this case is 6.5%, and the number of deals, the number of 6.5% times the size of the farm area will generate 59 expected deals. So that's the universe of deals. That's what you're vying for. You're vying for your piece of that 59. The average price in this farm area is 545K. This particular client, he or she does their deals at 5%, so their portion of the end will be 2.5%. This person happens to have a 90% split and no separate transaction fee. So for this particular person, the average commission check for this farm area will be just north of $12,000. We put the marginal tax rate in as well. So what we do at the bottom is we give some sort of sense to what you have to generate in terms of payback. So the highlighted yellow shaded area will show you at one deal. You make one deal. That means, remember, there's 59 deals in this area per year. This means you swung and missed 58 times. You only hit the ball once. That generates a 1.7% market share. 1 divided by 59. That generates a commission check of $12,200. Your cost is $5,700. Your profit before tax is $6,500. The point is not that you just need one deal to pay back your investment. Most people, almost every single program that we do pays back on one deal. That's not the point that I draw people's attention to. The real important point is the 1.7%. So what it shows is the break-even market share. In this particular case, you only have to do actually a deal once every 2 years, right? Because your cost is about 6K. You generate 12K, so you only have to do a deal once every 2 years to pay for itself, but that would be like gravy. But the point is, you only need 1.7%. So if you can imagine, if you paid back, if your payback was one deal per year, but the break-even market share was 10%, that would be a thing you want to avoid. That would be a situation you want to avoid, because that means there's only 10 deals a year in the farm area. So what we advise all our clients is what you're looking for in terms of break-even market share. You're looking for a number under 2%. In this particular case, it's 1.7. It's in reality only half of 1.7, because as I mentioned, you only need one deal every 2 years to pay back. But be that as it may, we're looking for a 2% or less market share to break even. And now the point at the bottom is also interesting, where it's, I don't know if you can read it, but right at the very bottom there's a little note. It says the above analysis assumes no value for referral or spin-off business, therefore it's conservative. It's a fact of life in the real estate game that having successful clients breeds more, having successful client relationships, I should say, breeds more business. So if you do a good job selling a person's home, that's going to create a buzz, a spin. You could double end that deal, first of all, but you could also get the purchase on behalf. If the person sells before buys, you could get the purchase. But more importantly, you're getting spin-off business. You're getting referrals. You're getting family members. You're getting more. You're getting other situations where you can get referral. This analysis assumes zero value to any of that. So really, it's a conservative analysis. As I'm sure most of you know, being a successful realtor is like a snowball rolling down a hill. As you tend to have more clients are satisfied, they refer you to other clients. So none of that is imputed into this particular analysis.
No, I like how you did it conservatively, so that it's not pie in the sky type of stuff. Now,
right.
Were you done? I just skipped. I figured you were.
Yeah, I'm done.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, so is there questions rolling in on your screen there, Andrew? And by the way, I put up our contact info, guys. So after this, you guys are going to get the video. But then here's all of our contact info as well, so you can reach out to us. But ask if there's any questions.
What is your thoughts on an area with 300 sales and about 300 sales and about 10% turnover, but no agents really dominating it. 3,000 homes roughly. Yeah, so it's that's perfect. Um,
Yeah.
if no agents are dominating it, if it's 10% turnover is very high. The average resale turnover last year in the GTA, just to give you a frame of reference, was around just slightly north of 5%. So yeah, this is an excellent. This is a prime area. If you're saying there's no dominant agent and there's about 300 deals a year, yeah, that's a prime area to be farmed, definitely.
Last question. Is your
Okay.
cost example for all Oh, that is a good question. Is your cost example for all 30 touches, you can answer that, but
Um, the cost example in that case was for all 30 touches, correct?
oh, it covered the 12 direct and the postcard?
Um, the
He's talking
cost
to
example.
the
Oh, I'm sorry.
this
I'm sorry.
example
So no.
here. No, that
So I'm
was
sorry.
just the
I'm sorry.
12.
That would cover the 12. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. That cost example is for the 12 newsletters. So it's hard for us to make the assumption of if they want to use us for the postcards. We have a postcard campaign, so that should be added on. So no, that in this particular case, that cost example was just for the newsletter campaign itself.
Cool. Good question, by the way. Awesome, guys. Okay, well, hey, that was a really good. I appreciate that webinar. Thank you, Andrew.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, guys. Well, I'll stop the video, but I'll stick on if there's any further, and you guys will get an email later. It takes a little bit to get this out to you, so be patient on that.